Hi, so let's switch to the network analyzer. Okay, so I'm using my MXG's low frequency out as a pulse generator, 2.5 volts, and I have a pulse that's 3 milliseconds long with a 500 microsecond pulse width. So that is what you see here as the yellow trace. I'm taking the output of this MXG. It's split with a BNC splitter. Half of it is going to the scope, the other half is going to the trigger input of my network analyzer. And this is not an ENAX, but it's a PXI VNA similar. Then on here, let's go on my network analyzer, and I'm going to change my frequency range to 2.6 gigahertz to 2.7, so there's no band crossing, so it makes sweep times easier to look at. And let's go to 5 points, scale, auto scale, and we put on a marker. And then I come here and I run this. What the blue trace is end of the sweep signal. If I have the interface control, I take this line end of the sweep, 6, and that's what you're seeing in the blue. And my, I have this pulse out, pulse 4 out, which is what's green. And let me turn that on pulse gen config. Pulse 4 out is indicating ADC activity, so it's kind of your receiver measurement. So let's turn it on. So this is my sweep measurements. This is my 5 points. And this is sort of the time between each of them. And my sweep time is actually only 70 microsecond. This is 1 millisecond a division. So that's maybe about a tenth of a division. But if I come and I run the speed test, use existing setup, cycle time, single. This is about a 2 millisecond sweep between 2.9 to something like that. There's some variability because of the windows running. And that's the time you see between the blue to the blue, which is the end of the sweep. That's around 2 milliseconds, or the green to the green. Let's run it again. You can also set up triggering. Oh, that app switches it to manual. Okay, so now so the green is where it's taking the data, and the blue is the end of the sweep, and that's the pulse. But there's no synchronization here because I can come here and I can turn it off, and my blue and green are still this. Let me see if I can move it out of the way. Let's move the blue up, and let's move the green up a bit, and let's move the yellow down. See, if I turn it off, nothing happens. Now I come here, I say trigger. Let's go to use an external trigger. I don't even have to do anything in measurement trigger. It's already set to Control S. And now it's triggering off of this, and it's actually, I think the default is negative edge. So let's switch it to positive edge. So when it starts triggering. Here, if I turn this off, you can see there's no measurements at all. So it is actually using this as the trigger to make the measurements, and I can go into trigger and also change the delay, let's say to 200 microsecond, and you see the green shifted. Let's go back to 0. It's at the start of the trigger, 100 microsecond, and it's 100 microsecond after that. What Hira was saying is you should use either the measurement trigger input or the pulse trigger input, but not both. I still haven't quite gotten this working. When I do, I'll make another video, but I thought at least for now I would show you how the measurement trigger was functioning with the trigger input from the pulse generator.